Alright, hello everybody. Today I just wanted to do a really quick video on this method that I found that pretty much completely eliminates nub marks. Like, pretty much completely. So, the only tools you're going to need for this, like, at the very base, you need a nipper, pair of nippers. It just, if it's decently sharp, that's good enough. You can even use this method with the nippers, though I wouldn't recommend it. But the key part here is your hobby knife. You want to get a new blade. You can get them for pretty cheap. You want it to be pretty decently sharp. You don't want to be doing this with a dull blade whatsoever. You can use another pair of nippers if a duller one if you don't want to wear your sharp ones down quickly. And these are the basic tools. But for if you want to get into the sanding part of it, there's these $1 nail buffers at Dollar Tree in North America. They are called the Sassy and Chic 7-way nail buffer. Again, $1. They are super good. I've been told they can last you like 3 master grades if you're sanding like pretty much every single piece. And some extra things that you can use. I use the MadWorks 800 and 1000 sponges. I haven't tried out the paper yet. And I also have this 1000 paper. It's smoother than this 1000 sponge by a small bit. I'm not exactly sure why. And I also have this 3000 sponge, and that is, I believe, the Tamiya 3000 sanding sponge, though I could be mistaken. I can't really read the label on here. It's just faded. But again, nippers and hobby knife. And then if you want to do sanding, like this is the bare minimum you need, $1. And if you want it to be a bit more in depth, you can get some sanding sponges. I'd say like 800, 1000, maybe something between 1000 and 3000. And you got your 3000 and maybe a polishing grid as well. But without further ado, I am going to show you how to do this method. Now, this method is specifically for recovering the color and what would you call it? Coat of the surface, and also for completely eliminating nub marks. So what I'm gonna do first, I'm gonna cut far away from the piece. I'm gonna try to hold on to the piece here so it doesn't get stressed from being like pushed out and all that. So I'm just picking a random piece here. For example, this is the real grade Shars Zaku 2. And I'm just gonna start with one piece here, right? And that's what I meant with a duller nipper, that you're not afraid to get dull, because you want to be cutting a good amount away from the surface. Alright, so now I want to get my sharper nippers. And I don't want to cut directly up onto, but I want to get to like the thinner section here. And I just want to give it a little cut there. Leave a little bit behind. It's a gradual process. And I'm going to be doing this a bit slower for demonstration purposes. You can take this as slow or fast as you like. Alright. Oh, that one went flying. Alright. So now that we have this, you can see we have a little bit left everywhere. Now, what you're going to do with your very sharp hobby knife is you're going to want to get most of it in the first pass. Most of it off on the first pass. Hold it parallel to the surface. Right? And you see I got most of it there. Try not to scratch the surface. Hold it very parallel so it doesn't gouge. Right? Then you just want to, not cutting toward yourself. I have a bunch of space here. I want to cut it as parallel as possible. I don't want to gouge it. You can even leave a little bit left, but you just want it to be like 99.99% flat. But don't gouge it. If you want to get that last little bit and it would cause you to gouge the piece, just leave that last little bit. And very carefully. Alright. Now you can see that we have a little nub marks left over, and then this is where this method comes in. Now, with your hobby knife, I essentially describe this as cutting backwards or scraping. What you want to do is hold it like at about 45-degree angle with the nub, maybe even less, and you just want to gently, while being firm, just scrape backwards like this, right? And you can see the nub mark just starts to disappear, completely disappears, right? And then once you do that for a little bit, you don't want to do this a lot because it is scraping away material. you can do it in the other direction as well. Now be careful, because this can damage your pieces. So if you're doing it on an edge like this, you'll see it gets a bit flatter here. So you want to be careful. You want to be careful for that. Right? And then just very gently, you want to do it in both directions, sometimes even up and down. And then there you go. It is completely gone. Let me get you a little magnifying glass here. You can see the mark itself is pretty much completely gone. You can see there's one here, but not one there anymore. And then that's nothing that sanding can't handle. So I'll do it again here. It's very gently doing it. Because what it's doing is it's gently taking away the stressed plastic. Because even if you're using a really sharp hobby knife, you're still probably going to stress it. And sanding, while it helps with the recover the surface, it doesn't necessarily help with nub marks that much. Now, it's going to be a bit, you're not going to see the best, like 100% perfect results on your first few tries, but it takes some practice. Literally, I found this out in my stream last night at twitch.tv/D, letter D, Stokes, so it's D Stokes. And I found it out towards like the end of my stream, but I was getting really good results. And I wouldn't worry too much about the surface being slightly damaged. What you're doing now is worrying about the nub marks. Again, being gentle with it. And if you need, you can, if there's a little bit left, you can like cut it off really easy. All right. Get that there. And then there we go. As you can see, pretty much 0 nub mark left. So you can see the surface is slightly damaged, but not the piece, or not the nub mark itself is pretty much completely eliminated. Now, I'm not doing this too hard, just because I want to show you for demonstration purposes. You can do this as much or as little as you want with however much attention to detail you want. Now, I want to show you the sanding part. I'm going to first start with my 800 Madworks. Now, when I first started sanding, I really didn't know what technique. Should I do long, hard strokes? Should I be firm? Should I do light, tiny ones? So what I found is, from other people, is what you want to do is small, light circles. Now that may seem, well, how are you going to get it sanded? Won't it take forever? Literally just count to 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, if you're really worried about it. Because what you're doing, you want it to be light so it doesn't scratch the surface, because you can get these little micro scratches, I like to call them, right? So on all the parts that all this area that you scraped, if you're really feeling it, you can go 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi. But you don't want to do it too much, right? And then after your 800, you can scratch at that area that you just sanded, and it helps get rid of the dust, and it also helps recover a bit of the original surface's color. As you can probably see here to here, I'll get my magnifying glass again. From the bottom to the top, it's a very slightly different shade and texture, you can see that. So I'm just gonna, you want to work your way up in grits gradually. Yes, you could jump straight to like the highest, but you wouldn't get a really good finish. And what you can also do is have a microfiber cloth, one side wet, one side dry, and you just rub it over the wet and then rub it over the dry. And it helps get rid of a lot of the dust. Alright, now that we did the 800, I'm going to do the 1000. Again, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Very light, short circles. 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi. And then you want to scratch it with your nail. That's an important part I found with restoring the original color as well, so it's not like a faded out color. Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi. Right, there you go. And scratch it. So I'm going to see if I can show you guys a difference between scratching it and not scratching it. You have to put a decent amount of pressure into it, and sometimes it makes a change, sometimes it doesn't. It really depends. All right, so now I'm going to use this flat 1000 here just to get it a bit smoother. And you don't have to sand it for any amount of time. You can just do it until you feel comfortable. Remember, light circles. Especially for lower grits, you want to be being especially light so it doesn't scratch. Right, and here. Okay, now I'm going to bust out this, which is our $1 nail file. You have 1, 2, and 3. Steps 1, 2, and 3. Though I wouldn't really use those because they're... I don't know if you can hear them. It's pretty coarse. So what I'm going to do is jump straight to step 4, right? I'm going to do those light circles. Just like a second, Joe. Okay, and then scratch it with your nail. And then I'm going to do it on these other 2 nubs. I want to get all the area that you sanded. You want to do it very gradually. Alright. And scratch, pick off, whatever you want to do. And then with 5, I want to hit it for a bit longer. I'm just going to go back and forth here, just to make it go a bit faster. Which the reason you use circles is so you have a consistent in multiple directions sand. So that's why you want to do it in circles. Right, and after 5, you should be able to scratch it to see a noticeable difference. Though on this piece, it doesn't seem to want to show that very well. But you can do it if it just depends on the piece. Now, for after that, I want to go to this 3000 sponge here. And again, this is my personal step. You can experiment however you like with this. It really is up to you on what steps you take and what equipment you have. For example, I have a gun primer razor kit. Or, sorry, the gate remover kit coming in the mail. It's coming Monday, which is, it's Friday of the time of filming this. So I might do another updated video using that, but I want to use like relatively non-expensive tools for you all so I can show that off. Now, it's not going to be the best color here because I haven't been wiping it with the wet microfiber because it's not wet and I'm not going to stop the video right now to do it. But normally when you do it, you'll have a better blend between the colors. Like even right now, you can hardly see any difference, even in the light. I can show you, hold on. I can show you right here. See? Hardly any difference, if at all. Right, and I didn't clean up this nub the best. That's with the scraping, that's why there's still a little bit of mark there. But once you get to the 6, you can go decently hard with it. Now at the 6, you'll get like a bit of a gloss going on. And if you do it gradually and you do this carefully, you'll get a very, very high gloss if you go up to step 7. So right here. And then there we go. It's a bit more glossy than before. But what you can do is just hit it with that 3000. And it will restore the lower coat. So you can probably see in the light here how it's a slightly higher gloss. But it's a good gloss, it really is. Now you want to be a bit firmer with that, and with step 7, you can just use any amount of pressure you want. Right here, and then you can see that's a really high gloss. You can see that? It looks candy-like. Because I was really careful with my sanding and I did it gradually. If I went straight up to 7, it would not even be a gloss. It would look mostly scratchy, right? So that's why you want to do this carefully. Now what I can do to bring that back is just hit it with this 3000 very gently. Very, very gently. Again, very gently, and then you can also work your way back up as well. Up to like 6 again. So I hit that gently, and then I'm going to hit it with the... Sorry, not the 5. Whoops, the 6. So I can get like a little semi-gloss going on. And there you go. It looks pretty much completely invisible. And the nub mark would be completely gone if I didn't mess it up. That is how you completely eliminate nub marks. It is your best friend when you're top gating. Even with high gloss, like you saw how high that gloss was. You could use it even to help with if there's top gating on kits, like let's say the real grade Sananju, where it's like a very, very high gloss, you can use that. And it is just absolutely wonderful. And it feels so satisfying. I've done this slower for explanation purposes, but you can get like a piece like this done in, I don't know, like 60 seconds, maybe even less. It really depends how thorough you are with it. But you want to be careful, right? Use light pressure. You can use the circles because you don't want to just go back and forth because then it's not sanding it effectively because then you'll have to go left and right and like all different angles. So soft light circles. I'll run it from the top. So cut the piece out far and make sure you're holding it and supporting it so it doesn't get bent. And you can maybe even cut it near. It's really up to you on how careful you want to be. Then cut it almost to the surface. Leave like a millimeter of material left. And then get it flush, or 99.99% flush with your hobby knife. And then do the little scraping method. Do it in both directions. And do it lightly, right? Because it's essentially the opposite of cutting. Think of how you would cut like this. Just go in the opposite direction, right? Then soft, gentle, like consistent light circles with 800. I use MadWorks. Then 1000. Then you can use this nail buffer from, again, Dollar Tree. It's a single dollar in the nail care aisle. I go for 4, then for 5, and I scratch it. And between each of these first 4 grits, I scratch it and wipe it off with a microfiber cloth, wet and then dry. And you scratch it as well. Then you can use more pressure with the 6 and 7. And if you get to the 7, it will be a really, really high gloss. And you can just bring that back down with, let's just say, just like a 3000 sponge. Or like a semi-gloss or matte polish grit. And that's about it. Like, again, literally the only thing you need to do with sanding, if you really are feeling saucy, you can just use this $1 file, nippers, and a knife. This is all you need just to completely just evaporate nub marks. And that's about it. You can catch me live on usually Wednesdays, sometimes Fridays, Saturday or Sunday, and Tuesdays on twitch.tv/dstokes. I stream different games like Monster Hunter. I stream a lot of roguelikes, and I also build Gunpla. Right now, I'm even currently just finished the body for the Master Grade Infinite Justice, so come check me out sometimes. I even wear a maid dress sometimes, which is been a big meme for my stream. And if you have any other questions, drop them in the comments below. Any other suggestions for videos would be greatly appreciated, because I love teaching people about Gunpla, like the basics, some more advanced stuff. I just adore the hobby. And that's about it for me. Thank you all for watching, and have a great day. See ya.